If you've never heard about Cynthia Osokogu and the circumstances that led to her death, this is that story. A 24-year-old woman travels to Lagos to meet two men about a business deal. She checks into a hotel, is offered a chilled drink, which she takes, but she never makes it back home. So these two guys are a terrible duo. This is Bufo and this is Olisa. Here's what makes them dangerous. They open Facebook, scroll through profiles and look for women who seem ambitious, maybe with a boutique or some small hustle. They talk about business deals and about how they can supply items at low prices. And if you've ever run a small business in Nigeria, you know that sounds like exactly what you would need. And so when the women believe them enough to agree to meet, that's when the trap closes. Now, this is Cynthia. Cynthia is 24, she's bright, ambitious, and the only daughter of a retired army general. She runs a boutique called Dress Code in Kefi, Nasarawa State, and she's also studying for her master's degree. But Cynthia has a problem. Getting quality goods at the right price for her business is a hassle. So when two men message her on Facebook offering bulk clothing supplies for her boutique, she pays attention. Now, these guys chatting with Cynthia, they sound business-minded and trustworthy. They don't raise any red flags. She thinks to herself that this could be the chance to scale her business, and so she tells some friends she's going to Lagos, discuss a deal. She books her ticket, packs her suitcase, and prepares for the trip. On the 21st of July 2012, Cynthia walks through Abuja airport with her suitcase rolling behind her. She bought her flight, and within an hour, she lands in Lagos. She makes her way to Festac Town, where the men have already booked her into the Cospila Hotel. The hotel is quiet, the kind of place where you can go unnoticed. They welcome her warmly, there's lots of smiles and polite conversation. And then they offer her Ribena, chilled and dripping with condensation. But it's laced with a sedative. She drinks and nothing happens immediately. The men exchange glances and gently offer her more. As the evening goes on, they gist and laugh with her, swapping funny stories. Eventually, Cynthia begins to feel the drowsiness creeping. She probably thinks it's just travel fatigue, but of course, this is exactly what the men knew will happen. So, they press masking tape over her mouth and tie her hands and legs with chains. Her body is weak, her voice is muffled. She tries to mutter something, but no sound comes out. And then these guys bring out their phones and record everything. They capture her fear, her resistance, her helplessness. When she struggles, they tighten the chain around her neck. Tighter and tighter. Cynthia Osokogu passes away in that hotel room at just 24 years of age. By the next morning, hotel staff discover her lifeless body. At first glance, it looks like a robbery gone wrong. Her phones, jewelry, and iPad are missing. But something about the scene feels deliberate. It's too clean, too carefully planned. And so, the police are called in, led by DCP Dan Okoro. They begin pulling the pieces together. CCTV footage shows Cynthia walking into the hotel with two men. They track her phone records and follow the trail of her stolen debit cards. Every clue brings them closer. When the arrests begin, the predators panic. One suspect climbs into a hotel ceiling, sweating and holding his breath, thinking the police won't find him there. But of course they do, and they drag him down. The bravery these men have when their victims are drugged and tied up disappears completely when they face anyone who can fight back. The investigation that follows reveals that Cynthia isn't their first victim. In police interviews, they admit to using the same method on other women. Facebook chats, hotel rooms, Ribena laced with sedatives, chains for restraints, and robbery at the end. One woman later testifies that she barely escaped after being drugged. Another woman describes how she was lured and almost lost her life. These women survive, but they carry the emotional scars. When the news of Cynthia's murder breaks, Nigeria erupts. Her name trends across every platform. Her photo is shared thousands of times. Parents call their daughters, universities host emergency workshops on online safety. The conversation about meeting strangers from social media shifts from casual advice to genuine fear. Well, in February 2013, Lagos High Court in Abuja is packed. Families squeeze onto benches, students line up outside, journalists fill the aisles. Everyone wants to see justice done. 6 people face charges, Bufo and Olisa, for committing homicide. A pharmacist, Oji Osita, is accused of supplying the drugs. Olisa's brother Nonso is accused of handling Cynthia's stolen phones. 2 others are loosely connected to the case. The evidence piles up. 17 exhibits, 10 witnesses, CCTV footage, phone records, confessions. But justice moves slowly. The trial drags on with endless adjournments, stretching the process for years. Cynthia's family waits while the system crawls. Finally, in 2017, 5 years later, Judgment Day arrives. Justice Olabisi takes her seat and reads through every exhibit, every witness statement, every contradiction. Her words are steady and deliberate. At last, she delivers her ruling. The pharmacist and Nonso are acquitted. They walk free for lack of evidence. Nwapufo and Olisa are found guilty of murder and sentenced to death by hanging. The courtroom exhales. 5 years of waiting, 5 years of adjournments and frustration, and finally a verdict. Now, some of you might be wondering, why would Cynthia meet strangers from Facebook? And I feel the need to address that because it's the wrong question. In Nigeria, good business happens on Facebook every day. Suppliers find customers online, customers find suppliers online. There's nothing unusual about what Cynthia did. And yes, caution matters. But the question nobody asks is, why are predators like this able to do this repeatedly? Why does the system exist where they operate like a franchise, same method, same tools, different victims, and nobody catches them until someone dies? The problem isn't that Cynthia trusted too much. The problem is that the system didn't do enough. No verdict can bring Cynthia back. No sentence will return her to her father, the man who raised his only daughter to be ambitious, hardworking, and unafraid. No judgment will restore the future she was building, the boutique she was growing, the master's degree she was chasing, the life she was only just beginning to live. Cynthia did everything right. She built a business, pursued an education, saw an opportunity and took it. And that's the cruelest part of the story. Because the same ambition that made her extraordinary was the exact thing they used to lure her in. So, if this story makes you pause the next time something sounds too good to be true, good. That pause might just save your life. Well, that's the story. If you liked it and would want to see more like it, then please like, share, and subscribe for more.